Hello and welcome back to the Bloom and Well podcast. I am Dr. Mackenzie, and today we're going to be talking about why you're always on edge even when nothing is wrong. So the whole theme this month is about your nervous system. We're going to be exploring a lot about the fight or flight response, diving into some polyvagal theory, and gently educating you on how your nervous system works and how to calm it down when you're consistently having overactive stress responses. So anyway, today, like I said, we're talking about why you're always on edge. And if you're someone who's like me, a couple of years ago, I was so burned out that I was bedridden. And I was bedridden for almost a year. And in that time, I was constantly on high alert. I had so much adrenaline going through my system. I felt like I was constantly on edge, even when nothing was going on around me, right? Like I was in my bed. There was nothing that could really hurt me. There was barely any responsibilities, but I still felt all of this pressure, all of this impending doom, right? This underlying tension and anxiety, this restlessness that would not go away. And it's crazy. At the time, it felt crazy to me because even though life seemed so calm on the outside to everyone else, and I felt like I should have myself together and I should not have all of this anxiety and tension and I should be okay, there was still like this underlying tension that was running in the background. So, and that's definitely normal if your nervous system is dysregulated. And a lot of the times there are several physical symptoms that can come up with that. So things like racing thoughts, negative thought spirals where you have this constant staircase of negativity that just descends into the void, right? You might have a really tight chest. You might have irritability, anger. You might cry spontaneously. You're constantly scanning the environment for issues that could be going on. You might be constantly picking at your partner or your coworker or someone around you for something that could be wrong. Like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? All of that can be a sign that your nervous system is dysregulated. So today we're going to talk about why this happens, how it ties into your nervous system, and one of the very first steps that you can use to shift out of it. This is the biggest tool that helped me take that first step and that first leap into my own recovery journey. Now, we're going to get a bit sciencey. I like to include education in my videos because I think knowing how your body works is the first step to getting better. That awareness is the first step to your healing. So we're going to start with the autonomic nervous system. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I can. If you do have any questions for me, drop those in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them there. If it's something that might need some more detail, I'll probably make a video on it and go from there. So your autonomic nervous system is broken down into two main branches. We have the sympathetic, which is your fight or flight, where you get all of the adrenaline, the anxiety, the heart racing. That is what's designed for real danger. Okay, and then we have the parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest. That is where your body heals. That is where it digests all of your food and turns it into energy and helps you relax and feel at peace. And that is where we're supposed to spend the majority of our time. However, unfortunately, in today's society, because we have such a fast-paced culture, most of us tend to spend the majority of our time in that sympathetic state. So it's important to remember that just because your body is stuck in that fight or flight state, it doesn't mean it's necessarily malfunctioning, right? Your body's doing what it was naturally designed to do, okay? It is trying to protect you in that moment because it thinks that there's a real danger. It's just stuck in that on position because for some reason, the nervous system hasn't received that signal that the danger is over. It hasn't said, hey, we're safe now. Let's shift back into parasympathetic. The stressors we face today do not look like the stressors that our ancestors faced. Our society is developing at such a fast rate. Our bodies are not evolving that quickly, right? They are evolving quickly, but not enough, not fast enough, right? To keep up with that level of stress, the type of stress. So our ancestors dealt with things like starvation, wild animals, being susceptible to the elements, right? They didn't have stable house structures and safety like that. So food, water, and protection. However, our nervous systems still function as though the stressors we face today are those types of stressors. So even though maybe it's unresolved trauma or a hustle culture or overstimulation because there's constant news input, or you're always connected to your phone or the internet because it's pretty unavoidable in today's day and age, all of those are triggering your nervous system to respond just like our ancestors did when they were facing absolute life or death situations. And a lot of these tend to be false alarms. So, for example, doom scrolling on the internet, like if you're on TikTok or Twitter or whatever social media you're on, and you're just continuously scrolling, that triggers a false alarm in the brain, and then it thinks that it's in danger, even if you're safe. And part of that has to do with the action of scrolling because you're trying to take in so much information at one time. Part of it might have to do with the type of content that you're consuming. Again, that's going to depend on your feed, and that's different for everyone, but I digress. So let's talk about some brief symptoms that mean you may be stuck in that fight or flight state. So if you're struggling to relax, even during downtime, maybe you got off work 3 hours ago and you're still struggling to stop thinking about work or stop thinking about deadlines. Maybe you've taken a bubble bath and the entire time you're struggling to just relax and enjoy it because you're thinking about taking care of the kids, or you're thinking about taking care of your parents, or maybe you've got some kind of financial burden that you're concerned with. If you are startling easily, for me, I would be washing the dishes and my cat would come in there and try to play with some toys, and it would scare me and I would jump and squeal because my stress response was overwhelmed. So even things like clenching your muscles in your neck, your shoulders, your jaw, you might have a stomach ache or tension in your abdomen, even short, shallow breathing. All of these could be signs that you are stuck in that chronic fight or flight state. So if this is you, I do want you to know that your body is not betraying you, okay? I know it feels like it in the moment, but truly it's just doing what it was designed to do. It is functioning in the only way that it knows how. So we get to learn how to complete that stress cycle and calm that nervous system down. Okay, so a huge game changer for me in my own healing journey was the physiological sigh. So it's one way that you can complete that stress response. It essentially stimulates the vagus nerve and tells your body, hey, the danger has passed. We're okay. We can calm down. We can relax. Our body can recover now. And it's really cool because our bodies naturally do this when we've been crying a lot. So if you notice even how babies cry or little kids, or if you had a difficult moment where you were having a lot of tears, notice that babies and people will do like this double intake of breath where it's like, right? That's essentially what we're doing. We're just manually stimulating that response. So you inhale deeply twice through the nose, and then you sigh it out through the mouth. I'm going to kind of turn to the side so I'm not breathing too heavy in the mic, but I'll show you how to do it. And when you do this, I would typically do it at least 3 times in a row. And then sometimes you might notice you yawn afterwards, or your body naturally does another one on its own, or maybe your eyes get a little teary. All of this can mean that it's working, right? Those are signs that your body is shifting out of that fight or flight state and into the rest and digest state. And I know that, again, I emphasize a lot of this in our community and in our videos. But it's very important that you don't fix everything all at once, and that you understand that everything is not going to improve overnight. And I think that was something that I had a lot of difficulty with in my healing journey, because the whole process of healing from nervous system dysregulation and chronic illnesses that are essentially being exacerbated or even caused by this is because there has been this lack of trust between your brain and body. So we have to learn how to rebuild that trust with the body again, which that's probably going to be a topic for another time. But if you are someone who does feel on edge all the time, and you do have that constant anxiety all of the time, and it just feels like the world is ending, even though you don't know why, I want to reassure you that you're not broken, and it just means that your body needs support, right? It means that your body wants to trust your brain again. It wants to trust your nervous system. So the good news is that you can learn to shift out of that survival mode one step at a time. So trying this physiological sigh throughout your day when you do feel very overwhelmed. And then keeping that as one tool in your toolkit and adding on to that over time is what's going to help you recover the way that I did. If you are someone who wants more help learning how to regulate your nervous system, or learning what I did to go from being bedridden to fully functioning again, I do encourage you to join our free community, which I will link below in the notes. Feel free to also like, share, comment, and subscribe no matter what platform you're listening on.